Welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending today's webinar. Appreciate each and every one of you being here. This is just another series of webinars that we're producing to help educate our clients, to help them mitigate and reduce risk in their company. Today, we're going to talk about phishing and how phishing affects companies throughout the world and what you can do and a few steps that you can do to help prevent that. So, again, we're going to talk about phishing, about how you cannot take the bait. So the more that you educate or educated and learn, the more you can understand how you can prevent being phished. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Mark Green. I'm co-founder and managing partner of Stryker Networks. I've been in the IT and cybersecurity business for over 30 years. I'm also a former law enforcement officer of 17 years, where I specialized in crime scene investigation and forensics. I co-founded a successful multi-million-dollar MSSP business where we provide cybersecurity and IT services for small, medium, large, and enterprise-sized companies, focusing on the prevention and the education of cybersecurities. So why am I doing this? So my personal mission is to assist 1 million growing businesses in achieving greater profitability, security, and compliance through the strategic use of technology. Okay, so before we get started, I'd ask that you would grab something to write with, a pen, pencil, crayon, whatever works for you, because I'm going to be sharing valuable information in this presentation, and I don't want you to miss it. So, a little information here, a little fact. In 2021, did you know that 1 in every 99 email is a phishing attack email? 1 in every 99. So this goes to show you the importance of understanding what phishing emails are all about, and how to look for them and how to prevent from getting attacked. So how does phishing work in general? So there's phishing websites, there's phishing email servers, and there's phishing attachments within emails. So here's how this works. Hackers socially engineer an email that tricks people into believing that they need their credentials or that they need to change their credentials. For example, if you get an email that appears like it's from Microsoft, where it says, hey, your email password has expired, and you need to click on this link to change it. It looks like it's a legitimate email from Microsoft, but it's not. You click on the link, you go to what appears to be a Microsoft website, and it says, please enter your email address, please enter your old password, please enter your new password, and it may even ask you to enter the new password a second time. Then it asks you to save it. And then you think, oh, great, my email password has changed, and that's great, I'm going to start using that. But what really happened is the hackers were able to now get your email address and your password, because you put your old password in, right? So now they get your password, and now they can get into your email system, and if you happen to have administrative rights in the email system, they can then socially engineer emails to everybody in your organization, and they can start using your email account to be able to exfiltrate information or be able to get money from you. So you want to make sure that you're aware of how that works and aware that that's happening all the time. So here are the 3 most common scenarios with phishing emails. The first one is the credential stealer, which is the example I just gave you a few minutes ago. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending today's webinar. Appreciate each and every one of you being here. This is just another series of webinars that we're producing to help educate our clients, to help them mitigate and reduce risk in their company. Today, we're going to talk about phishing and how phishing affects companies throughout the world and what you can do and a few steps that you can do to help prevent that. So, again, we're going to talk about phishing, about how you cannot take the bait. So the more that you educated and learn, the more you can understand how you can prevent being phished. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Mark Green. I'm co-founder and managing partner of Stryker Networks. I've been in the IT and cybersecurity business for over 30 years. I'm also a former law enforcement officer of 17 years, where I specialized in crime scene investigation and forensics. I co-founded a successful multi-million-dollar MSSP business where we provide cybersecurity and IT services for small, medium, large, and enterprise-sized companies, focusing on the prevention and the education of cybersecurities. So why am I doing this? So my personal mission is to assist 1 million growing businesses in achieving greater profitability, security, and compliance through the strategic use of technology. Okay, so before we get started, I'd ask that you would grab something to write with, a pen, pencil, crayon, whatever works for you, because I'm going to be sharing valuable information in this presentation, and I don't want you to miss it. So, a little information here, a little fact. In 2021, did you know that 1 in every 99 email is a phishing attack email? 1 in every 99. So this goes to show you the importance of understanding what phishing emails are all about and how to look for them and how to prevent from getting attacked. So how does phishing work in general? So there's phishing websites, there's phishing email servers, and there's phishing attachments within emails. So here's how this works. Hackers socially engineer an email that tricks people into believing that they need their credentials or that they need to change their credentials. For example, if you get an email that appears like it's from Microsoft, where it says, hey, your email password has expired, and you need to click on this link to change it. It looks like it's a legitimate email from Microsoft, but it's not. You click on the link, you go to what appears to be a Microsoft website, and it says, please enter your email address. Please enter your old password. Please enter your new password, and it may even ask you to enter the new password a second time. Then it asks you to save it. And then you think, oh, great, my email password has changed, and that's great, I'm going to start using that. But what really happened is the hackers were able to now get your email address and your password, because you put your old password in, right? So now they get your password, and now they can get into your email system, and if you happen to have administrative rights in the email system, they can then socially engineer emails to everybody in your organization, and they can start using your email account to be able to exfiltrate information or be able to get money from you. So you want to make sure that you're aware of how that works and aware that that's happening all the time. So here are the 3 most common scenarios with phishing emails. The first one is the credential stealer, which is the example I just gave you a few minutes ago, where you get an email, they're asking for your credentials. Now, it doesn't have to be Microsoft. It could be many other companies that you possibly do work with, and they're going to ask to change a password or to verify your email address and your password. There's many, many ways, because they're very well thought out and socially engineered to where people think, oh, great, this is something that's legit. The second thing is that you can go and there's a malicious link within your email. Example, email from what appears to be from FedEx comes in, and it says, click on this link because your package has been delayed to see when it's supposed to arrive. So click on this link. So you click on the link, and what happens is it downloads a malicious package into your computer to be used later on. Now, you might click on the link and type in your information, or whatever credential information you might want to put in, probably your FedEx information. And what happens is that it goes to the website. It might say, oh, this website is down for maintenance, try again later, something like that. But now they've downloaded that malware into your system, as well as possibly receiving some of your credentials as well. The third one is actually an attachment to your email, very similar to the last scenario that I told you about with FedEx. In this case, there's actually a attachment where it says click on the attachment to get an update on your delivery. Again, this could be from USPS, it could be from anybody else, United Postal Service, it could be from UPS, it could be from anywhere. And what happens is you click on the attachment, and again, built into or embedded into the attachment is a malicious piece of malware, and that malware then gets installed on your computer. Again, allowing the hackers then to be able to access your computer at a later date to be able to see if it can move around on your computer or laterally move across your network and be able to exfiltrate information or be able to create a ransom situation. So you want to make sure that you're on the lookout for all three of those on the email, because I have to tell you, the number one way that the hackers are getting information and getting money from you is through phishing emails. It's a known fact. Whether they get you with ransomware, a malicious payload, whether they grab your credentials and be able to do other things with that, it's where they get all their money. So there's a couple of myths that people think. They think that I'm safe as long as I don't enter my credentials. Remember this scenario 2 and 3 where we talked about a link within the email and or an attachment within the email. They won't always ask for your credentials. They just want you to click on so they can download a malicious payload onto your computer. So the truth really is that, you know, there's malicious links, like I said, that they can download, put exploit kits, or steal your data later on through malware. The second myth is that, you know, no one falls for the email phishing anymore, which is 100% lie. What we do for our clients as an MSSP is we provide them a fake email system. What that means is that we send them fake emails, very, very legit looking emails to our clients, and we see if they click on them or follow along or add credentials to it. If they do, it records it. It doesn't do anything. It's not malicious and there's no payload, but it's a testing system to see whether or not the end users fall for it. And we find that they do on a regular basis. And statistically, it shows that 31% of people click on the phishing links and 17% actually still enter their credentials. These are updated statistics. So what's the solution? What is it that you can do to be able to take care of that? So we're going to go through each situation again and talk a little bit about what we can do to prevent it. So let's go and talk about the credential stealer. The first thing you're going to do is that you want to have different credentials for every application that you have, whether it's your bank information, whether it's FedEx, whether it's your email, whether it's any systems that you have that you log on to, whether they're in the cloud or on premise, it doesn't make a difference. You should have a different credential for every single one of those. But then you look at me and say, I can't possibly manage all those credentials and I can't possibly remember them. So I would suggest that you find a password management system. We provide that for our clients. They're out there. All you have to do is remember one password to log on to it, and then once you're logged on and authenticated, everything is encrypted, and then you go to a website, let's say your bank website, you're going to be able to click on your bank and it'll input the username and the password automatically. Now the passwords can also be randomly generated within the password email management system, or the password management system. So I highly suggest that you do that, but if you're not having different credentials for every website that you go to and your email and all that, I guarantee you the hackers will have a field day with you. The second thing is two-factor authentication. You have to make sure that you have two-factor authentication. So what is two-factor authentication? It's where you put your credentials in, it sends you a text message or a message within an authenticator, like Microsoft has one, Google has an authenticator, Apple has an authenticator, sends it to your phone where it gives you a code. You then have to put the code into your email system or any application that you're using, then it authenticates you. It's two factors of authentication. The first one is your password. The second one is the text message or the authenticator message that you get back in. So you can manually put in a code. The reason being is if somebody hacks your username and password and you have two-factor set up, the two-factor is going to send you on your phone number or your authenticator that code, not the hacker. So the hacker will have no idea to be able to second authenticate, and therefore they're not going to be able to get in. So that's something that's really, really, really important. Let's talk about the malicious link that's embedded within the email, or it says click on this link to get this information. You need to make sure that you keep all your devices up to date. What I mean by that is make sure it has the most recent patches and the most recent updated operating system that's out there, because that's going to help mitigate the security breaches that'll happen within that system. So always keep your systems up to date, and also be very cautious on clicking any kind of links within email unless you know exactly who sent it to you and you're expecting that link, and then still be cautious as well with that. The third one is the attachments. So you want to disable your macros in Word and PDF readers. So a macro is when you click on, let's say, an attachment, it runs a little routine. It's called a macro that does things without you having to click on it. And it's created by the hackers so that when you click on something, it installs something, it does something, exfiltrates something, it puts something on your machine without you knowing about it. You want to make sure that you disable that. So if somebody sends you a PDF or somebody sends you a Word document or whatever document, when you click on it, it's not going to run a routine in the background. You want to make sure that you prevent that. And the second thing is you want to make sure that you don't enable editing on the document. So for example, you receive a Word document, you click on it, and it asks you in Word to click on being able to edit, because then you elevate the permissions on it, and then the macros can run. What you want to do is save that attachment to a file or folder. So sorry, save that file to a folder somewhere. Open up that file outside of your email to try to prevent that from being from opening up a malicious package within it. So we want to talk about your overall safety. Again, you want to use caution when clicking on links or attachments in unknown emails. One of the key things is you want to understand who is sending you the email. And look at the email address. If it's coming from Microsoft, look at the at Microsoft.com, not at MicrosoftServices.com or something goofy like that. Look at the extension of your email and say, wait a minute, is this something that's really legit that's coming from them? But by the way, just so you know, other than your in-home M365 system, you're really not going to ever be prompted for that password change that way, and there'll always be a two-factor authentication behind that. So look at that and make sure that you look at the emails, look who's sending it to you. If you're getting an email from the boss of the company, and that email is going to your CFO or financing or accounts payable, and that email says, please wire $100,000 to this account. And what happens, here's a little example. So we had a client that the owner was out of town. And there was several emails going back and forth saying, I'm going to be going out of town. Here's where I'm going to be seeing. Here's the company I'm going to be going to. Was talking to his administrative assistant. And so somebody had already hacked his email. So the hackers are watching this information going back and forth. And they're looking at it and they're saying, okay, what can we do here to be able to extract some money from these people? So I said, okay, now that I have control of the email, I can send an email from the owner to accounts payable, because I have access to the email account through Office 365 or an on-premise mail server or Gmail. So he sends an email saying, hey, I'm at so-and-so's office, because they know that from the previous communications that he was going there on this date and time, was going to be speaking with so-and-so. And I've crafted a deal, and I need to transfer $100,000 to this account. Please do this immediately. This is very important. I need to get this deal done. Well, the person that's in accounts payable sees it and like, oh my gosh, this is the boss telling me what to do. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer the money with the routing number and the account number to that account. So they do that. And then later they sent an email to the owner saying, hey, I sent you the money. Everything is out there, has been transferred. But what happens is the hackers monitoring the email, routing all the emails that are coming in to a separate account, going through them and seeing what they want to have send through. I know it sounds a little complicated, but this is how it works. Then what happens is they intercept that and says, great, thank you, I received the money, it's all good. None of that ever came from the owner. The original email that was sent to transfer the money never came from the owner. The one that says, thank you for transferring it, we received it, never came from the owner, it came from the hacker. Because they're working as a middleman in between all the communications, because they have access to do that. And so the owner comes back and says, oh, hey, did you, I'm glad you made that deal. I transferred the money. The owner says, what money? I didn't ask you to transfer. She says, here, look, here's all the emails from me. He goes, that wasn't from me. It was his email account, and it was from him, only he didn't send it. So that's how that stuff works. So you got to be really careful on when you're receiving an email that you verify it. So we tell all of our clients to say, if there's any money transfer whatsoever, there has to be a phone call talking to a specific person, giving them the okay to be able to do that. That's the only way that that you transfer money that way. Also, you want to avoid, again, sensitive and personal information whenever possible. You don't want to be sending that across email. You certainly don't want to be inputting it into a link that brings you to a website that says we need some personal information, because now the hackers have all that information, right? You want to make sure you keep your computers and applications, again, up to date to minimize the vulnerabilities. Again, it's not just your operating system patched and up to date, but all applications that you use should be up to date, because most of those up to dates have to do with security patches for those applications, and you want to make sure that you stay on top of that. And also, you want to educate your employees. And one of the things that we provide for our clients is on a regular basis is training on proper use of website use as well as email use, what to look for, what to verify, two-factor authentication, which people, when we set those up initially with our clients, they're not very happy about it because it's another thing they have to do to open up their email. But we have to explain to them the importance of this and the amount of phishing emails that are out there and the amount of money to the tune of about $3 trillion 2 years ago. I'm not sure what last year's numbers were. That's how much money is involved in hacking, and most of it has been created through phishing attempts. So here's what you can do. You can upgrade your security. You can always contact us. I'll be happy to answer questions for you and show you what we can do. So one of the things is that we can go and provide a risk assessment against your network. Now, if we provide this for you, we will not need any administrative rights or credentials. You also don't have to notify your IT department if you don't want to. You certainly can if you have an IT department or an IT managed services. It's up to you. But I will tell you one thing, the hackers don't call up your IT people and say, hey, we're going to try hacking you now, so just letting you know that, because they're going to be on the lookout for it. You want to do this as a third-party assessment so that you can look at and see what's truly happening. Are there any gaps? Are there any holes that we need to fill? But again, it's up to you, because we do not need credentials. We will not install anything whatsoever on your network to do this. So here's one of the things that we'll do. So if we provide this risk assessment, we'll analyze your network. We'll meet with you and review all the results of the scans, and then we'll give you some simple steps to be able to help protect your data a little bit better. We'll show you and reveal to you the areas that you might be vulnerable. These are the same areas that the hackers are going to be looking at as well. Again, third-party risk assessment, which meets a lot of compliance regulations, cyber insurance regulations, to be able to have a third party look at. Because remember, you don't want to grade your own papers. So we would be coming in as a third party. Again, we're doing this because my mission is to help protect 1 million businesses. So you might say, what's the catch for that? Well, the catch is that our security team can only handle 5 new users as far as scans go. So we're going to offer for the first 5 companies free security assessment scans that value anywhere between $2,500 and it could be as high as $10,000 depending on what you have. So here's what we can do for you. We can go ahead and give you a free third-party risk assessment for no charge for up to 5 computers on your network. Again, we do not install anything on your network or anything on any computer. We don't need admin credentials, so we need no credentials whatsoever. We just simply send you a link where you can go ahead and run the link. Those reports are sent to us, all secure. They're all encrypted. We'll give you and present you the reports. We'll walk you through all the scenarios that we see that are probable bad issues or probable issues that need to be rectified. And then we will also help guide you through on what needs to be done to get that fixed. So here's what you can do. To get a third-party risk assessment for your company, you can call me directly at mark@strikernetworks.com, or you can click on the UCR code. That'll take you to a contact form and fill that contact form out, and we'll be happy to get in touch with you to arrange that scan of your risk assessment scan. Also, remember, it requires no credentials, requires us not to install anything on any computer, any network. So it's simply benign, and we can go in there and take a look at everything and see if we can find if there's any risk. Hopefully there's not. Hopefully you're all good and there's no problems. But what if there is one? Would it be good to have somebody from the outside take a look at what's going on in your network? And again, there's no cost for the first 5 people that come across and do that. So thank you again for joining today's webinar. I really appreciate each and every one of you being here. So this is one of a series of webinars that we produce about every 2 weeks, twice a month. The next one is going to be on September 29th at 11:30 Central Standard Time. I hope each and every one of you can make it. I hope that you'll find it educational, and I hope to see you all there again. Thanks again. Have a good day. Bye. Okay, let's get to the questions. But before I do that, I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for attending today's webinar. Really appreciate it. I hope you found it informative, and I hope that through learning and education that you'll be able to secure your networks in a better fashion. So let's get to a few of the questions. One of them, what are the top 3 things that you can do to prevent a phishing breach? Probably the top thing you can do is education, educating the end users, because most of the breaches that happen through a phishing email are because of the end user. Sure, we can implement a lot of technology to help mitigate that, but it's ultimately up to the end user whether or not they allow a breach to happen for the most part. And so if you educate the end users, which is what we do for our clients, help them understand how to look at emails, what to look for in suspicious emails, not to open a suspicious email, but rather notify us and let us know that, hey, this doesn't look right. Is this suspicious? Is this something, is this something we should look at? And let us determine whether or not that's good or bad for you. So educate the end users and just verify that the emails are legit. If somebody's asking you to transfer money somewhere, you should have a process in place that says, if this is the case, I need to contact so-and-so to get approval. I need to verify this through somebody else within the organization. So that'll help prevent a lot of that. Also, one of the things that we do for our clients is we provide a phishing email testing system that sends fake emails throughout the month to see whether or not they click on it or whether or not they activate the link that's in it. This obviously doesn't do anything, but it gives us a recording of people who are more prone to clicking or following along or falling into whatever that socially engineered email was, and then they fall into that the area of breach. And so we want to be able to make sure we prevent that. So in testing and doing that on a regular basis, it helps bring awareness to them, but also helps the company understand who's more problematic. And again, just looking at the emails that you receive, make sure they're legit, make sure they're coming from the right people, make sure that it looks good before you click on anything. So those are the top areas that I would look at. Okay, the next one is, should my firewall prevent me from getting attacked or going to bad websites? And the answer is yes and no. The firewall does a really good job of web filtering, depending on how the web filtering is set up and how it's configured. If it's configured properly, it should prevent a lot of people from clicking on a link going to a malicious website. However, not every link goes to a malicious website. It actually goes to a valid website that still downloads a malicious virus within the system. So the firewall can't always see that. If it's a valid, good website or a valid good link, it's not going to prevent it. It doesn't have artificial intelligence. It has intelligence enough to look at signatures. Signatures are bad websites that are known throughout the world that everybody reports, so that you can filter that within your firewall. Also, it does a really good job of trying to block some big payloads that are it's how ransomware is downloaded into your system. So let me give you a quick example. You click on a link, it downloads a little teeny application, a little teeny malware on your machine. That malware activates when the network is at its least efficiency, meaning that if it's in high use, it's not going to do it. If it's in low use, it's going to go out, it's going to go to the website, it's going to grab the mother load, we call it, download the mother load into the system. And this happens a lot in after hours, and then it starts distributing the malware, which goes and encrypts all the files within your network. And so Firewall does a pretty good job of seeing this payload coming down. It looks suspicious. Why is this such a big download, especially in off-peak hours? And then it prevents it or sandbox it and alerts your IT as that there might be a problem here and take a look at that. So that's one thing that the firewall does well for you, but you can't rely on the firewall to be able to completely protect you from all of that. Another one is, what types of malware and viruses can come through emails. The biggest, one of the biggest ones is ransomware. That's where the biggest money is, where they can go and download a malicious software, be able to encrypt all your files, and then ask for a ransom to get your files back, unencrypt your files. That's one of the biggest areas that come through that. Also, there are some other smaller areas that allows hackers to be able to, at some point down the road, get into a system and start picking around and hacking around to see whether or not they can get some administrative rights so that they can move laterally across your network and be able to exfiltrate information. So those are the two biggest areas. One of the other questions are, you recommend having different passwords for different applications or sites? And then if you recommend, how do you, in your recommendations, what is the recommendation for changing the passwords, and what's the frequency of that? How can I manage all this? Sorry, I botched that up a little bit. The basic question is, how do I manage all my passwords? And how do I make sure that the passwords are changed on a regular basis and making sure that they're secure? So we recommend, and we also provide, a password management software. And what that does is it collects and holds all your passwords for all your applications, your websites, your email, and all you have to remember is a single password to activate your password manager. All those passwords, including your master password, are all encrypted. So if somebody were to get into your computer, they won't be allowed to look at or see any of the passwords because it's all an encrypted file. And once you go and log on to your password manager, anytime you go to a website or open up your email, it automatically inputs your username and your password. It's called a password management system. We also enable a system that changes the passwords for you automatically within the password management system so that you can get your passwords changed and not have to do anything but remember a single login. That single login will give you access to all the passwords, and that's what is called a password manager. Highly recommend it. In today's day and age, everything has a password. When we do scans for clients, we see that they use the same password for 50 different sites. And that's a big red flag, because if a hacker gets one password, they have access to possibly 50 different areas or sites that you go to and be able to grab money or exfiltrate information, whatever the case might be. So it's highly recommended that you have a password management system. And one last question here. I have advanced threat protection for Office 365. Doesn't that block all malicious traffic? So let's talk about that for a second. Microsoft has a system called Defender. It used to be called Advanced Threat Protection. It's now called Defender, that you can add. It's an add-on. You have to pay for it within the Alpha 365 or M365 system that will do a lot of things. It will scan your emails. It will scan your attachments looking for malicious software. And it'll also help reduce a large amount of your spam. And I highly recommend that you have that, or an EDR system, you know, an end user detection and response system. What that means is that it's constantly reducing the amount of spam that you're going to get. It's constantly looking for known malicious, socially engineered emails, prevents that from coming into your inbox. And it's looking for emails that you're receiving that have attachments that could have malicious software in it or malicious links within the email itself. I highly, highly recommend that. It'll help mitigate a lot of those problems. However, there are still emails that go through because the amount and the volume of emails that are sent each day that still get through that have malicious links in it. And again, end user education is the key. Understanding, making decisions. Don't clickety-click everything that you're doing. Just, look at what you're doing. So implementing technology the best that you can, Firewall, ATP, Defender, EDR, whatever you want to call it, and then end user education, along with some testing to make sure that you're not falling for traps, is the recommended way to help prevent and mitigate phishing emails from attacking your network or your system. So I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being part of this. I look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. If you want to contact me, my email is Mark, M-A-R-K, at Stryker Networks. That's STRYKERNETWORKS.com. Or you can call me at 847-380-7503. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions, any concerns you might have, or anything that I can do to help. Again, don't forget, we offer that free up to 5 clients, and those 5 clients, up to 5 computers for each client, a free network audit. It's a pen test. It's a risk assessment. It's something that you can run without any problem. Again, no credentials are needed, no software is installed. Allows us to be able to get a look at your internal and external network, showing vulnerabilities, gray areas, areas of concern. It also helps with compliance, and it also helps with cyber insurance compliancy as well. So if you have any questions or you want to reach out to me, give me a call, 847-380-7503, or contact me at mark@strykernetworks.com. Again, thanks. Have a good day. I appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll see you at the next webinar. Thank you. Bye.